Teen Wolf, Act 3. Beacon Hills Animal Clinic. Inside the town's lone veterinarian clinic, Scott flips through the sign of the door to say close, and then grabs a few packages off the reception desk. The door to the storeroom opens with the corridor. Scott backs out, hurling a huge bag of kitty litter. Setting it against the wall, he takes out a set of keys and unlocks the next door. But just before pulling it open, he pauses, hand gripping the doorknob as he listens into the uttering silent clinic. And then he hears it, rain, the pattering of drops on the roof. Scott twists the knob and opens the door. He barely has a foot inside the room when a cage filled with cats comes alive with activity. The frightened felines suddenly bare their teeth, hissing and clawing frantically at the cage door, all of them focused on Scott, their backs arched, struck absolute terror. Stunned, he staggers out of the room, slamming the door shut. Retreating into the waiting room, Scott can still hear the pandemonium coming from the inside where hammering spins him around. Standing outside and banging on the glass door with her fist is Allison. Rain-soaked, it's nonetheless easy to see that she's crying and it's a visible panic. Quickly unlocking the door, Scott lets her in as she tries to explain through the tears of what happened. I didn't see it. I took my eyes off the road for like 2 seconds to switch songs on my iPod, and this dog, it came out of nowhere. Scott, okay, it's all right. Do you remember where it happened so I could send the animal control out to find it? Allison, no, yes, I know where I hid it, but the dog, right, where is it? Scott said. Allison, in my car. Following Allison to her car under the now drizzling rain, Scott opens the back seat door to reveal an injured stray. Hackles raised, the frightened lab mix is clearly in pain. Allison reaches in to pick it up, but the dog snaps at her. She flinches back, stepping right into Scott's arm. Scott, you okay? She nods. Looking up at Scott behind her, he hands on her forearm, fingers lightly touching her soft skin. Scott, he's just frightened. Allison, that makes 2 of us. Scott, let me see if I have better luck. Letting go, Scott steps towards the open door, oddly calm. Allison, careful. As he connects eyes with the dog, something happens. Sounds drop out around him, all except for the dog's nervous panting. Then its harsh gasps begin to ease. Some sort of preliminary communication occurs between them. Close on Scott for the briefest moment, his eyes take on a strangely yellow tint, just like of a wolf. In response, the dog lowers its body, submissively yielding to the obviously dominant animal. With Allison watching in amazement, Scott gathers the dog into his arms and carries him into the vet's office. Inside, Scott gently lays the injured animal down on the examining table. Allison stays back, watching him inspect the dog while petting it, doing an expert job calming it. Scott, I think it's just a broken leg. I can sprint it for now, give him a painkiller, and then let the doctor take a look at him in the morning. Allison steals glances at him, looking on with admiration as he works. But Scott doesn't notice. Terrified to glance at the beautiful girl, when he finally does look up, he sees her hugging herself, soaked and obviously freezing. Scott, I have a t-shirt in my bag. Allison, oh, I don't want to trouble you. But Scott is already reaching into his bag for the shirt. Allison takes it with a smile. When she steps into the hall for privacy, Scott can't help but notice her reflection in the wall mirror. As she's pulling her wet shirt off, he catches sight of her bare back. Looking away, Scott notices the dog staring at him. Scott, whispering, what? I didn't do anything. The Scott doesn't look convinced. The dog doesn't look convinced. Allison comes back into the room, now wearing his shirt and no longer shivering. Allison, thanks for doing this. I feel really stupid. Scott, how come? Allison, I don't know, for freaking out like a total girl. Scott, you are a girl. The shadow slows. Nope, not wrong way. Allison, I freaked out like a girly girl, and I'm not a girly girl. Scott, what kind of girl are you? Allison, tougher than that. At least I thought I was. Scott, I'd be freaked out too. In fact, I'd probably cry, and not like a man. I'd cry like the girliest girl. It would be pathetic. Allison, laughing, you're right. Scott finishing wrapping the dog's leg. Scott, so it looks like he's going to live, and I'm pretty sure he'll even let you pet him if you want. Allison, I don't think so. Scott, come on. You don't want him to sue. This breed is very logistic. Is litigious. I don't know that word. Allison approaches tentatively, reaching out to stroke the dog's neck. Calm now, the dog even licks her hand. Scott, see? He likes you. He watches Allison, unable to take his eyes off her. Allison, what? Noticing his stare. Scott, sorry, you have an eyelash on your cheek. Allison, oh, from the crying. She wipes her cheek, but the lash is still there. Scott shakes his head. Then she tries again, still there, so Scott reaches his thumb and brushes the lash from her cheek. Allison, thanks. He nods, hand coming down like he's not quite sure what to do with it. Scott, I was wondering, this is really family night on Friday, or you think maybe you'd like to go to the party with me? She throws him a curious look. How did he know what she said? Allison, family night was total lie. Scott, so is that a yes? You'll go? Allison, definitely yes. Road night. Tearing down the road on his bike, a huge smile nearly splits Scott's face in half. He's ecstatic, jubilant, but not for long. He slows, smile fading. Something has caught his attention. He eases to a stop on the rain-slacked road and holds still. Turning his head up, he takes a quick whiff of the air. Slowly, he turns around to find dark woods surrounding him on all sides. The road is completely empty, strangely quiet. Then the sound of movement catches his ear. He turns, peering into the woods. Nothing. He starts pedaling again, glancing at each side of him as he picks up speed. He then notices a shadow moving through the woods, keeping pace with them. When he starts paddling faster, the strange, lolloping silhouette moves just as fast. Pedaling harder and harder, Scott pushes the bike to its limits, steel chain threatening to come off. The shadow slows, letting him go ahead. Not at all relieved, Scott keeps going, looking back to see something large and fast crossing the road just a few yards behind him, diving into the dark of the woods. Now on the other side of the road and driving Scott's panic higher and higher, it keeps pace with him once again until it disappears. Breathless, Scott gives a last glance back to the woods on both sides and then forward, where a truck veers out in front of him. An 18-wheeler coming from the side road. Scott hits the brakes. The truck looming before him. The bike crashes against the hood of the cab, and it flips up and smacks down on the road. Metal scraping pavement as it clatters to a stop. The trucker jumps out, glancing around in panic, but there's no body on the ground, so he finally peers up where Scott stands on top of the truck. Perched right on the cab, eyes wide, he looks down, terrified, but also strangely exhilarated. Driver, what the hell? Breathless, Scott is too stunned to even answer. Fade out. End of Act 3.